tokusatsu, taking the form of many shows including Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, and Metal Heroes. And today, a group of fans come together to review it for you as Toku Secrets.
Hey guys, this is Anthony Davis, aka Kyoru Green here, and this is Toku Secrets presented by AnimeSecrets.org. And today we're going to be discussing basically for Black History Month, Black Power Ranger, Black people as Power Rangers. And joining me is
Hi, I'm Nathan Nassab, Boken Silver.
Hey, I'm Rizwan Gokai Red.
alrighty guys. So basically we're going to be discussing like from MMPR all the way to the current season of black people as Power Rangers. Basically, the first one we're going to start off with is Zach from MMPR. He is our first African American Ranger. He is the Black Power Ranger. Ironically, too, it's kind of funny because, like they said in the interviews, like they weren't intentionally having a black actor be the Black Ranger and an Asian Yellow Ranger being yellow. It really wasn't intentional. It was all accidental, and they kind of rectified that, in the next season.
Yeah, I don't think Walter caught on to that trend until I think an interview said he didn't notice until episode 12 when people were starting to comment on it.
Yeah, it was just like
it never crossed his mind.
But I also read somewhere that Walter originally was given the role of Billy, the Blue Ranger, but then Walter asked to play Zach instead because he quote unquote thought he would be more recognizable as the Black Ranger, which I mean, make of that what you will. I remember reading that somewhere. Make of that quote whatever you will. But Walter was the Black Ranger by his request, if that is actually real.
Yeah,
I think it also fits the actor's personality better too.
Yeah, and plus that, like you said, he is more recognizable as the Black Ranger. If he was a blue, we probably wouldn't be it wouldn't be as memorable, I guess you could say. But
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. What I was gonna say was that as far as me growing up to watching Power Rangers, because of course little me didn't really know anything about black people. I mean, I knew about black people obviously, but I know there was more to it. Just having a black actor being in Power Rangers, because I was just enjoying the show for what it was. But as I got older, I was like, oh, there was a lot more black people being Rangers, and it's pretty amazing, just seeing that, oh, look, there's a, it's like watching, like it's like you're seeing yourself in a way, if that makes sense. And also, I definitely I think that was pretty fun too, because of course his hip hop Aikido thing was pretty epic or whatever. I never honestly tried to attempt to do the hip hop Aikido. I know I always liked to dance, but I never really did the Aikido part.
I mean, Zach was the original jokester, Power Ranger. Which,
yeah,
again, it's kind of funny because in Jew Ranger, it's definitely funny how Zach is the goofball and Billy is the brains. When in Jew Ranger, the Black Ranger is the brainiac, and the Blue Ranger is just the goofball. Though Zach is, I mean, I guess if you technically want to compare Zach to Don, Zach is a much more preferable character.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing that I like about Zach in the original, let's be honest here, he kind of has a bit of an arc in season 1 because there's a couple of episodes where he's chasing after that girl Angela. I mean, literally the last episode of season 1 is him getting on a date with Angela, and actually managing to woo her. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't really end up mattering much because we never see her in season 2, but that was still great, and I think Linkara said it best. Linkara has said that Zach is his favorite of the original Five Rangers. He said that like it's kind of cool how we see these Rangers be like perfect goody goods who are like who don't really have any flaws. So it's kind of refreshing to see Zach not get the girl immediately, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not only that, but Zach brought so much charisma. He was really integral into the success of my department.
Yeah.
But Zach was everything, and like he was and like somebody who thinks but you know cannabis and have you.
Yeah. Was there anybody? Was there like anything else y'all want to say before we get on to the next?
I haven't read the. I'm still trying to read the comics that lead up to like the bigger story and everything. But I also really like Zach in the comics because
Oh yeah.
I mean, they hint at it a little bit with in the Green with Evil saga, but it's much more prominent in the comics where Tommy has just joined the team at the beginning of the comics, and they actually make Zach be like really skeptical of Tommy. I honestly wish that they did that more in the show, but I mean, but it's the first season of Power Rangers, so and the writers weren't at their highest level of quality, but
Yeah.
I like how he is in the comics too. I really like him there because I really kind of wish that there was like that one member of the team that doubts Tommy, and I understand why it's not Jason because he and Tommy had that kind of relationship. I think Zach was the perfect guy to have his doubts. So
Oh
I
yeah.
really,
Most definitely.
I really liked him in the comics.
And like there's actually a separate comic called Go Power Rangers. It focuses more on the Rangers before Tommy joins.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then even in the I know this like recently, but the Power Rangers audio drama podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that.
Hmm.
The way to portray Zach in there is also really cool because you kind of see more of Zach and his relationship with Jason as like they're all from different states. They don't live all in the same place in the audio drama, but they teleport to the command center and go off and do their missions together. But it's just fun to see the friendship between Zach and Jason develop. And I don't know too much about the audio drama. I'm only on like episode 4, I think.
Hmm.
Like Greenwood Evil is just about to begin right now, so not that far. But I definitely think the character of Zach has been really entertaining, even in the audio drama. Which, by the way, has no relation to Hasbro or the franchise. It's just a fan-run project that I enjoy quite a bit.
And I like his friendship with Jason. Like, if I don't know, one of these days I would really like to make a video talking about my favorite, not romances, because everybody talks about romance, like, Wes and Jen, Tommy and Kimberly, blah, 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 blah. But I would really like to do one talking just about like personal friendships. Um, and I would have put Jason and Zach as like my number one. I don't know which one I would have be my number one, honestly, but I would put Jason and Zach in that top 10 because I mean he even Walter Jones and Austin St. John to this day have really great chemistry.
Yeah.
But that's about it. What I would say was Zach.
So are we ready to continue?
Yeah, let's go.
Alrighty, so our next Ranger is Aisha, the second NPR Yellow Ranger. And with this one, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I had the biggest crush on Aisha growing up watching the show. I was like, oh, she's pretty cute. Ooh, her name's Aisha?
Yeah, she's pretty good looking.
Oh yeah. I think I'm trying to
Down to
remember.
Boogie with the Bear.
Yeah. She always had
Um,
like the funniest thing to say, and like it was just
yeah.
hilarious.
So one thing to note about Aisha's character, this is something I learned on Instagram from her page. She is the first black female superhero to be on live action TV ever.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I think that's a really big deal for, representation in media, because up until that point, all of our heroes had been white. And maybe we had like one or two male black superheroes, but never a female. So that's a big deal to me.
most definitely.
Plus, she had such a great personality, just like Zach, in a similar but different kind of way, if that makes sense, because they're both really charismatic. They're really outgoing. Really just great characters in the franchise, and I enjoy them both.
Most
I
definitely.
especially liked her friendship with Adam, especially in the first regular episode that comes after the Three Stone Canyon kids become rangers. It's called Goldar's Vice Versa.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah. Now it's mostly an Adam episode where Adam doesn't have a date to the dance and he feels like really like he's putting himself down, which I can totally relate to. Adam is my favorite of the Three Stone Canyon kids, but what I love about Aisha in that episode is that Adam doesn't have confidence and he's putting himself down and Aisha's being like, oh, come on, Adam, you're awesome, but she's giving it with a little bit of attitude. Like, that's great. Aisha is a true friend to Adam, and I like that.
Oh yeah. And she also has like a lot of attitude in another episode where I think it was like she was doing, I guess, one of the, it was somebody on, like somebody from the fire department had like dubbed her, I guess fire, like a I guess like a full fire marshal, I guess, and she was just going around like saying, oh, this caused a fire here, this caused a fire here. And she even got into it with Billy at one point, and she was like, oh, this is my responsibility, I'm doing this, not you. Like,
Yeah, that's actually funny. I actually covered this when little Power Rangers VHS series. They actually released three season 2 episodes. Now it was called the White Ranger series, but ironically enough, all three of those episodes were revolving around the Three Stone Canyon kids. And they gave the one that revolved around Aisha was that episode. I think it was called "Where There's Smoke, There's Fire." That
yeah,
was a
that was the episode right there.
yeah, that was a really good episode. I don't recall her having. Did she ever have like a romantic pairing? Because I don't recall that.
No, I don't think she
Ooh,
did.
no, I don't think she had any romantic interest in anybody really.
And her character left fairly abruptly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like how
Um,
they handled Aisha's departure.
yeah, it
That
felt like an
that
afterthought to
It
me.
was in season 3, and it was like right before they were about to, like, I guess, get the Zeal crystals or whatever, and like her character, they just like up and just, oh well, you're not gonna be on the show anymore. We're gonna get this new girl here so you can get out. I'm like, what? That's messed up.
well, I heard that like Aisha, like Karen Ashley, couldn't handle the production scheduling, so she asked to be written off. And they were going to give her like 10 episodes, but they cut it down to like 2. And I don't even think she says anything in her last episode. Well, okay, she says something as a kid, but not
just walking towards that lady that was like in the Sahara Desert or whatever, though. Or
And then what's even worse is that, I mean, okay, we're about to see her in this upcoming 30th anniversary special, which is all fine and dandy. But, like, aside from that, the most we got from her is that, like, there's that one episode of Zio where Tanya gets, like, a letter from her in the mail. But after that, like, Aisha who? Who is she again? Like, we don't even know. We never even hear from
And
her.
that was Kimberly's best friend until Tanya came around.
right.
I mean, Kat's best friend. Sorry.
Yeah, you would think that maybe Kat would mention her maybe once or twice. Yeah, I don't know. I think Aisha is a perfect example of how great characters get discarded and then you just never see them again. I never really liked how the Saban era did that.
It's a lot of shitty stuff during the day. So
Yeah.
who's surprised?
But hey, I mean, we're going to see her for this 30th anniversary, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I just found out that this special is almost an hour long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 55 minutes long according to Netflix.
I was like, thank
So
you.
we have time to learn what Spa is.
A 30-minute movie or something like that, but like they're giving us like at least it may not be as long as people would want it to be, but it's better than what we got, what every other special gets,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful for that. And moving right along, we're gonna go to Zio with Tanya, the Z Ranger number two to yellow. Now for Tanya, like she's very interesting. I like with her introduction of being just like this girl that Aisha meets, which ironically we were just talking about Aisha not too long ago, and she basically said, "Hey, like you take my place as the Yellow Ranger and just take the crystal for me." And she's like, "Okay, well we'll just do that." And I don't know, it's kind of weird circumstances with her, but overall she's a very enjoyable character. Like she had really great development throughout the entire series, and she even had a love interest that realistically didn't even work out. And people were hoping that her and Adam would get together because that's what people were hinting at. That's what the show kind of hinted at first, and what people were watching the show felt like they should have got together.
I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I actually like Tanya a lot more than Aisha. Um, I I don't know. Like Tanya is another one of those characters. She's a lot. She's actually a lot like. This is something that I keep saying about Izzy every time we review Dino Fury on here. I think like Tanya just gives me really great vibes. I love like her bubbly energy, and I know it was there with Aisha, but there's something different with Tanya. I can't really describe it, but I always love Tanya, and I met Nakia Baris twice. She is a very awesome person.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
wonderful. We did her interview. Well, Nick did an interview with her. I filmed it, so
yeah, yeah. That was
I
really
think
fun.
I think part of that for you guys is because she had a longer tenure. I think like she was in the entire season of Zio, and then she was in the entire season. Well, okay, half a season of Turbo. So I think she had more screen time than Aisha did.
But I really wish that they'll bring Tanya back because now we can say that like all of these Rangers of old have come back a couple of times. Like, I mean, Tanya's come back God knows how many times. We're finally getting Billy, Zach, and Billy and Zach coming back after all these years for this 30th anniversary. And even other Rangers like, Rocky and Kat, they both came back for Rocky and Kat will be back for this 30th anniversary. But before that, we had them back briefly for Dimensions in Danger or whatever that Ninja Steel episode was called.
Dimension Danger. You had it right.
And then, Jason was back. He came back for the big special in Beast Morphers. Plus, he was there for Forever Red. And we've seen Adam come back for Once a Ranger. But it's kind of weird because the thing is that Tanya never wore a Mighty Morphin suit. Unlike, at least Kat. Okay, she only wore like the pink Mighty Morphin suit for a couple of episodes, but she's still considered part of the Mighty Morphin family. So that's the thing that sucks. I don't see how they can fit bringing Tanya back because Zeo is just not iconic, nor is it really getting that much attention from Hasbro. So I think that's a real pity that we're not going to see. I don't know how we would see Tanya back, but I really hope that happens.
Yeah. But who knows at this point? And also I want to give it like a quick because I don't want to leave him out because like he is a black character in Power Rangers, but like we're gonna briefly talk about Sestro. He is the blue Alien Ranger from My Power Rangers, the Alien Rangers.
And he is like literally the only Alien Ranger that gets any attention.
Yeah, because like
he's the only one we care about besides Delphine.
Delphine, yeah.
Oh, Delphine is awesome. Her actress is a total sweetheart. I am not going to say single bad thing about I'm not going to say a single bad thing about Delphine.
No, definitely not. With Sestro, he was actually the Billy of his team. Actually,
yeah.
I remember a couple episodes of the Alien Rangers miniseries. He was helping Billy a lot with his stuff, technology stuff too, and even Zeo. That also happened in Zeo as well.
Yep. Just one other thing I want to say about Tanya. It's funny how people say that she and Adam should have ended up together because there's one episode. Now, to be fair, he was probably mocking her, but there's like 2 episodes where she's dating a guy who he was like on some sports team and he was a jerk because he was cheating on his test. His name was Sean.
Yeah, I hate. I hated him so.
He actually he made a comment saying like, "Oh, Tanya's going out with her new boyfriend," and he was referring to Adam. So, were they together? Were they actually together, or was John just being a jerk?
Who knows? I think maybe. Well, obviously he was being a jerk, obviously, but I feel like he felt some type of jealousy towards Adam because like her and Adam were so close.
Oh, and I know this is unrelated, but I remember when the guy who played was on Family Matters and he played like this.
I remember that episode.
No, the most awkward thing about that is that JDF is in that episode as one of his goons.
Yes.
So you did Rita put Tommy under an evil spell again? That I don't know. I'm sorry. I just wanted to briefly mention that because and the guy who played Zach was on Family Matters in one episode too.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I love Family Matters. I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
It's a solid show. I do like it. Yeah. And now we move on to the one, the only. Oh, actually, matter of fact, Nathan, you introduce this guy.
All right, everybody, behold, in my opinion, the GOAT, Theodore J. Johnson, otherwise known as TJ, or as Black Nerd Comedy, Andre the Black Nerd introduced him, the very first black leader of the Power Rangers.
No, Nate. You gotta say the whole thing like it said.
Owen Ward, first black leader of the Power Rangers.
Yeah, baby.
There you go.
And then there's like a little sparkle on his teeth during that still.
He just looked like, where'd the music come from?
Okay, I don't want to, okay, I'm not, okay, so it's funny how, in that video on Black Nerd Comedy, like Selma Ward, now he's just joking around saying like how, much like how Barack Obama was like the first black president, like, I was the first black leader with Power Rangers. And okay, I'm not trying to bring up politics or anything, but like I would literally say that TJ is kind of like Obama in that regard. Okay, I'm not talking about politics or anything, but when I was a kid and I first saw Obama become president, there was all this charisma that Obama gave off, and you can disagree with me on that. That's fine, but TJ is TJ is similar. Like TJ, like if you cut TJ, the blood that would come out would like spew charisma all over the place. Like that's just how good he is. Like I mean, like, I actually remember when I was younger, like, I had no idea how unpopular Turbo was. Because, like, I watched a lot of Turbo episodes. Mostly, like, my favorite Turbo episodes to watch were always the ones with the new team where they come in. Uh, looking back, they're not great episodes. In fact, some of them are really unpleasant to watch. The Robot Rangers. But even in the episodes that are bad, like there's just something about TJ that just always made me. I don't know. I just like TJ, and he doesn't undergo development that much. I mean, I think Carlos and Cassie undergo more development, but does TJ really need to? I mean, literally in the first episode, like he runs into the Power Rangers and he says he always wants to be a Power Ranger and like be a hero and fight for mankind. So does he really need to undergo development?
That's basically how like I felt when I watched Power Rangers because like growing up I was like, oh, I can't wait, oh, wait, I wish I could was a Power Ranger, and like with TJ saying that out loud, it's like wow, like he gets me, like I felt that connection, and then even when he became the Blue Ranger in space, his development was still phenomenal because like
He is. Would you guys say he's in the top 10 best characters in the franchise?
Yeah, he's in my
yeah,
top 10 favorites.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe not number one, but he's still up there.
Yeah, because he's just an amazing character to me. The way his. So I know he got relegated to like second in command in space, but his tactical mind was so brilliant when it came to the Psycho Ranger arc.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Like the way he was planning out the strategies and all that, like he truly signed as a tactician when, he wasn't necessarily like book smart like Billy, but he was still really quick on his feet.
Yeah. He had the ideas, man. He got ideas, man.
Well, what's funny though, and I'm really glad that they made this change. Like, TJ was actually a very last minute change to Turbo because I don't know how many people know this, and I'll talk a little bit more about it when we do a full season of Turbo review. But originally, so there's a lot of conflicting reports about it. But long story short, originally it only looked as if they were going to write off Tommy and Kat, and they were going to keep Adam and Tanya. And if they did, Carlos was going to replace Tommy as the Red Turbo Ranger, and Ashley was going to replace Kat as Pink. So, but then, like later on, since apparently Saban just always really liked how Sentai replaced the cast every year, he decided he wanted to replace the entire cast. And you can kind of see it in the show because they introduce Carlos and Ashley like several episodes before they become Rangers, but then TJ and Cassie get introduced literally in the episode that they become Rangers. But I'm glad that they made that last minute change, honestly.
Yep.
Well, part of it is the way that Nakia and JYB figured out that they were no longer going to be Power Rangers is that they saw an ad in a newspaper advertising their roles.
Mm.
and for them to for auditions and all that. So Chaim Saban didn't even tell them that they're leaving. They had to find it from the newspaper.
Saban.
You know how messed up that is to find that, oh yeah, you're out of a job and we're hiring. Like what?
But with that being said about TJ, like I think it's really telling how much Selwyn Ward. I've also met Selwyn Ward. I'm hoping that he'll show up to the. Actually, Anthony and I met Selwyn Ward together. I'm hoping that he'll show up to one of the cons that we go to, because if there's one guy I want to interview, it would definitely be him.
Definitely.
And speaking of which, the years have been really nice to Selwyn Ward. I don't think he's aged a single day since his first day on Power Rangers.
Okay, you say that, but Walter has not aged a single hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks younger too. That's the weird part.
Yeah, that's some crazy genetics they got going on there.
And by the way, I always love how TJ has come back for literally every single anniversary special except Once a Ranger. And even then, the only reason he wasn't in Once a Ranger is because Disney was really cheap and only wanted to pay for one actor to come back. So I guarantee you that if they asked Selwyn Ward to come back for Once a Ranger, he would have. So it's always great to see him come back. I think that really speaks volumes to how important he is. Guys.
Yeah. He's just as important as Wes Collins is to our franchise. Now that we're living in a post-ZDF world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I do have to ask Selwyn Ward. For those that don't know, that final scene in Forever Red where they're bragging about all the stuff that they're talking about, like how better they are than Tommy. Like how Andros is all like, "Hey, I saw 2 worlds. What about that?" All of that stuff was ad-libbed. They didn't write that stuff in the script. They just asked them to just act natural. Why was the first episode that comes to Selwyn Ward's mind the episode where he gets baked into a giant pizza?
Because that episode is amazing.
Yeah, I know.
And also, it's funny.
Yeah, it is. It's also funny in Car Ranger too, but we'll get to that at some point. The point, I think the only thing I want to say is that TJ, in my opinion, is the GOAT. I don't think anybody is ever going to top TJ. And Turbo,
he's definitely the GOAT. Yeah.
Turbo's not an amazing season, but honestly, TJ is the reason why it's not. TJ is the reason why Turbo is not on the same level as a season like Ninja Steel or Megaforce or Operation Overdrive for me.
Right. The first half, yeah, it was pretty kind of bad, but the second half is actually pretty decent, especially towards the end.
And I just hope that when he and Cassie get married, because that's one romance that I really wanted to happen. I don't know, TJ, could you slip me an invitation to that wedding? Because you guys were really cute together.
Agreed.
Alrighty, let's move on to the decoy, Damon from Lost Galaxy, the Green Ranger.
Is he? I don't know. So he was actually one of the first Ranger actors that I met. That's Reggie Roll, who, by the way, is married to the same actress who played Trakina in that show. That's really nice.
The literal antagonist of the show. So,
I mean, okay, Damon, if that's the way that you want to swing, I mean, you guys seem very happy together. So who am I to judge?
Yeah, I remember in one video interview he was doing with somebody, I think he was doing I guess one of those conferences or whatever where you just sit down and you're meeting your fans and they get to ask questions or whatever. There was one particular question somebody asked, and it was like, so did anybody like, try to like tease you about how like you're married to Drakina or whatever? And he had mentioned this, like he was in a either toy store or something like that with his wife, and some kid walked up to him and was like, Damon, what are you doing here? And why are you with Drakina? And he kind of played off like, it was like I'm undercover right now. Like she don't know it yet, which is
Oh man,
yeah, that was hilarious.
that's awesome. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Damon, but there's two scenes that, kind of stand out to me. Like, I wish that they made him, like, that they really tried to play up more of, like, this goofball, because, like, he doesn't really have many episodes dedicated to him, but, like, I really love, like, one scene that I could watch all the time, and it just makes me laugh. It's the very first battle with the Galaxy Rangers where Damon is like so excited to have these new powers, and then like he's all like, "Man, I cannot believe this power!" And then he's dancing around, be like, "Yeah, woo!" Like that always makes me laugh.
Right.
Um, I mean, aside from that, the only big crowning moment that I remember, which kind of comes right out of nowhere, but it's still awesome. It's really glanced over actually. It's that episode where Uh, it's where Carone takes Leo to a planet when he loses his powers to that magnet monster. Episode where Leo gets his battleizer, basically.
Yeah.
Um, and like the monster has just fried his and Mike's morphers, and they were the only two Rangers left. And then right out of nowhere, Damon just tackles the monster and like pushes him away, and then like tells Mike, Maya, and Kai to just run away. And it's so funny because like the episode glances over that, but I think that people should be talking about that scene more often because I think that was a great moment of heroism that I don't know that really stands out to me, and the episode doesn't really pay much attention to it, but
Yeah.
whoever wrote that scene in was awesome. That was like Damon's MVP moment in my
And
opinion.
mind you, the monster slashed him in the back unmorphed. So if you can imagine, like, if you were Damon in that scenario, you're getting literally slashed in the back, and that must hurt a lot, especially when you don't have your powers. Like, oof. Mm-mm-mm.
I can't remember any focus episodes for him though. Like aside from that one episode where Carone is trying to help him get like this head mechanics job or something, but is that really a focus? Now to be fair, I don't remember that many focus episodes that his Sentai counterpart gets, although his Sentai counterpart is still a great character. So
Yeah.
maybe you didn't have much to work with, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's bad. He's just not impactful, I guess.
The only episode I can kind of remember him getting a focus episode on was the episode where Hexablood was trying to like kill him in his dreams because he had like he made him fall she made him fall asleep due to some flowers, and the whole time he's fighting a monster in his dream. Now the monster that he's fighting in that episode is actually voiced by Walter Jones actually.
Oh, that's
Oh, I
cool.
didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, they brought him back for the
Legendary battle.
legendary battle. He didn't say anything, but that was still pretty cool.
He gave a very knowing look.
He would have done more of that if that had been written more properly. Riz, you've been quiet on Damon. What do you think about him?
So I haven't seen Lost Galaxy in so long that my memory of him is really faded. I remember liking him a lot. Like he was super hardworking. Um, he was he was a good ranger. I mean, honestly, I don't remember too much of Lost Galaxy beyond their names at this point. It's been many, many years for me.
I can still remember like it was yesterday, but that's just I'm a fan. I've watched every season, so
I mean, I've watched every season too, but I haven't watched them all like in recent times.
right.
Actually, there is one other thing that kind of comes to mind. It's in the Lightspeed Rescue team up where it's the very end where now, unfortunately, Damon doesn't get to do much. Well, okay, none of the Galaxy Rangers really do anything in that team up episode. Never mind, but I do like at the very end when like the Lightspeed Rangers are trying to convince the light Galaxy Rangers to stay on Earth for a little bit, and they're saying, "No, we need to get back to Marinoy." Damon like goes over and he like puts his arms around Dana, and Kelsey is like, "Yeah, maybe I'll stay for a little bit." Like, oh, okay, Damon, I see what you're doing.
Hey, man, do you blame him? I don't.
No, I
No.
don't.
Yeah. You want guys to move on to the next one?
Yep.
Alrighty, so now
Guy
we're
Cowboy
gonna go
himself.
one of my favorite Rangers, the hot dog himself, the Sky Cowboy, Joel Rawlings. I have to say, he was very entertaining to watch growing up
He was
because
very funny.
like this dude is hilarious.
Yeah. I think he's the Lightspeed Ranger with the most development. Like, because he gets a lot of focus episodes. I love his romance with Miss
Miss Fairweather.
Fairweather. That's great. And I think like we see, and I think his romance with Miss Fairweather actually had a reason because like he's this arrogant person, and like in his first episode he just thinks, oh, Miss Fairweather's hot. I really like her, but then like we see him show more genuine concern for her, and I think the one of the very last episodes before the end game arc, that episode where Dana becomes like a total diva. Now that's a horrible episode, but I do like how it's Joel who's like questioning Captain Mitchell, saying like, "Really, Captain? Like you're just gonna let her run off like that?" Like Joel of all people, I would expect that from maybe Carter or Chad, maybe not
Right.
Joel necessarily though. Um, and you don't even see him wear his cowboy hat that much, which I think was a subtle thing. And his best moment is in the very last scene where he's finally, after all these months, chasing after Miss Fairweather, and he's about to go on the date, but then there's a building on fire, and without hesitation, well, okay, maybe he hesitates a little bit. It's like, oh man, do I really got to do this? But he still goes and does go to help people. You got to give him credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, he is a first responder now. He has to answer the call to duty.
And he got Miss Fairweather in the end because they're married in Time Force.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
About to go on their honeymoon, but then the dang call is just like, oh, he's right there. What? Oh man. But he can still probably like just meet up with her at the yacht sometime later. So I think he's just fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
And it was Miss Fairweather was the one that told him like he had to go. So
Yeah, I'd probably rank him as like my third favorite Lightspeed Ranger behind. Okay, I think Ryan is awesome, and then okay, my favorite is Carter because it's Carter. Enough said. And then Ryan, and then probably him.
was there any final thoughts that we were going to talk about with him or?
No, he's just an enjoyable character that always made me laugh when he's on screen.
Yeah. And he felt the most natural when it came to like being thrusted into Lightspeed. He's like, yeah, I think you're nuts. I'm out of here. Like, I don't want to be here. You kidnapped me. All right, that's the realistic reaction I would have if I was like dragging something I didn't want to be a part of.
Yeah.
But in the end, he was like, you know what, people are in danger. I'll help. That's what real heroes do. They face the danger, and before they even knew how to morph, they were just still willing to throw their lives to save people and from these demons or whatever.
Yep.
So we gotta give him credit for he's definitely one of the real ones. And the actor who plays Joel, he's actually doing like really well. Like he's getting a lot of like movie deals. He's very like successful, like in screens and stuff like that. He's actually really like up there in like as far as like
what is the movie he's done since then? I haven't seen him. I don't think.
Remember, like
he
I
was
think it was 2004. He was in a live action version of the movie Fat Albert, where he played the live action version of the guy who's supposed to be like the equivalent of Bill Cosby in Fat Albert's gang. I remember that he was in that movie because I watched that movie a couple of times.
yeah, he was also in Dreamgirls too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What else would he was in a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm just trying to remember like let's see.
And I'm just reading this right now, but apparently Joel was supposed to be when they were going to do the hexagon plan, the hexagon thing. Joel was supposed to be one of the recurring characters in that show,
Yeah.
which would have been cool. And
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
And on a not so great note, apparently Philip Jean Mari, however you pronounce his name, he played Max in Wild Force. Apparently auditioned to play Joel, which thank God that didn't happen.
I'm glad he didn't get that. I'm glad he didn't get that. no hate towards Philip. He's probably like the nicest dude you ever meet. But yeah, no, it wasn't right for him at the time.
Yeah. But I do know that, I mean, we don't really have about, all the movies that he's been in, but I do know that he's been in I do know that he's a pretty active actor.
Yeah.
Which makes it all the more cool that he did come to Power Morphicon 2016 because I did meet him there. In fact, I've met every Lightspeed Ranger except Chad now. So, Mike, however your last name is pronounced, could you please come already so I can meet you so I can say I've met all the Rangers from my favorite childhood season?
Right.
Should we move on now?
Yeah, we should go ahead and move on.
Yeah.
So now we are going to discuss Katie, Time Force Yellow Ranger.
Believe it or not, guys listening, I actually did an interview with the actress who played Katie, Deborah Estelle Phillips. Unfortunately, the video did not turn out too well, so I am banking that we'll be able to do one again if we manage to go to Power Morphicon 2024. So that'll come out at some point, I promise you guys. But
there is no if. There's only do or do not, and we're gonna do.
Right.
That part. Now, while Katie didn't have that much development in the show, she was a decent Yellow Ranger. I'll give her that because, like, one thing,
sweetheart.
Most other Rangers was that she had super strength. At the time of Time Force.
Yeah, I do like she's one of my favorite Yellow Rangers. I think she's a total sweetheart. I think that I really like her friendship that she has with Trip. That was the big thing that really got me, how she has like this big sister relationship with Trip. I now the problem is though that I don't know, like I'm gonna have I think the big issue I'm gonna have is that when we eventually do Time Ranger and we do Time Force versus Time Ranger, unfortunately I'm gonna have to say that her Sentai counterpart is probably better, but that doesn't mean that she's a bad character.
No, not at all.
Yeah, she's awesome.
My favorite moment was literally in the first episode when they're trying when Jin was trying to get somebody's car to borrow or whatever, and the guy was kind of being a jerk or whatever, and Katie goes like, Jin, you have to be polite, and then slightly pushed out the way. She smiles, grabs the guy by the collar, and throws him out the car. It was so hilarious.
I love that.
You.
And I think the other thing I want to note, I don't know if it's just me, but like, even though Katie has like a very bubbly personality, she was also very much a tomboyish type of ranger. She had like a more like, I don't want to say like masculine appearance because I don't want that to sound insulting, but okay, let me put it to you like this. So for those back home that don't know, a lot of the previous Yellow Rangers in Power Rangers, even though they were women, they were male in the Sentai. Like Yellow Mighty Morphin was male in the Sentai.
Yeah.
And that was also the case for Yellow Galaxy, Yellow Lightspeed Rescue, Yellow Time Force in this case, and a Yellow Wild Force. Honestly, even though looking back as like a kid, I don't think it. I could never buy Yellow Mighty Morphin or maybe Yellow Lightspeed Rescue just because Kelsey's more tomboyish. But with Katie, I could actually believe that was her in the suit. Like, I don't know, she looked like big and like tough enough for me to buy that's her in the suit, which is big because Time Yellow is like a really big tough guy. Sorry for that spoiler alert for Time Ranger, but still, but I could actually believe that Katie was in that suit, but I can't. I can never buy that. Trini was in the yellow suit. Okay, with Aisha it was a little different because most footage with her in the yellow suit is original footage, so that's different. But I can never buy Maya in the Lost Galaxy yellow suit. But yeah, I have no problem seeing Katie in the Yellow Ranger suit. And I know that's a weird thing to touch upon, but yeah, Deborah Estelle Phillips is just totally awesome.
Yes, she is.
But do you see what I'm trying to say about like buying her in the suit?
Oh yeah, I can totally see it.
Yeah.
I just kind of wish she did more, especially in like she honestly felt wasted in the Movie Madness episode. Like, of all the things they put her in, a musical slash stage play. Like, oh come on now, you could have gave her something better than that. What I probably would have done, well, I would have had her in the ring like as a wrestler. That would have tied into like that'd be like cute little reference to Time Ranger.
Yeah.
Sorry for the small spoilers again, but that technically you would have to like watch the Sentai to know what I'm talking about.
But I do love her. I do love her. The running gag, how she wants to give people hugs. She has super strength, so she almost suffocates people to death. That's always awesome.
The fact that she likes to arm wrestle people too.
Oh yeah, she just like knocked Danny out of his chair.
Right.
Did you want to add anything, Riz? You've been kind of quiet here.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I was waiting for y'all to give me a chance.
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. Katie's a real sweetheart of a character. Like, she doesn't get, in my opinion, the love and adoration that I think she deserves as a character. I also don't remember too many really good focus episodes with her, but I do think her personality was grand enough that she may do just fine without it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to say?
That's all I wanted to say. Yeah, it's a quick little tidbit there.
Oh, okay.
I'm ready to talk about the next one, though. That's one of my favorite boys right there.
Is it now?
Riz, you might want to take that back because we got one other person.
Yeah, we're going to Ethan.
No, we're not going to Ethan. You know who
There is
we're
no other.
going with.
Who are we going to?
Just tell him, Anthony.
We're not playing this game, Riz. You know what I'm talking about. We're not playing this game.
Who are we talking about?
Wild Force Blue Ranger, Max.
Doesn't exist.
Max sucks. End of story.
The only blue ranger of African descent in this era was Ethan.
I mean, okay, I'll say this one brief thing about Max. I don't think, okay, him being a bad character is not entirely his fault because
He never gave up.
Gal Blue is a really bad character too. Like like that's the sad thing about Wild Force. Like, you know, we talk about how bad of characters Danny and Max are. Are they bad characters? Yeah, they are. But Gal Black and Gal Blue are both also really bad characters. And unfortunately, Wild Force is one of those seasons that decided to copy the Sentai note for note. So I don't know. So this is not entirely the fault of Philip Jinmari. I don't want to disrespect him, but yeah, he unfortunately had no choice but to be bad because Gal Blue was a bad character.
Yeah. The only thing memorable about him was the fact that he kept saying he wasn't a kid, even though he had like one.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I have to say about Max.
And that never give up crap that he always keeps saying, him and Danny keep saying.
Yeah.
We figured that happens. Let's move on now.
He's like, I'm ready to move on. Just move on to the next one. Okay, now we'll talk about Ethan James from Power Rangers Down Thunder. He is the Blue Ranger of that team.
And he's quite possibly one of the best on this list. Not the best, but he's one of the best, in my opinion.
Big facts. Yes.
Like, Ethan speaks to all three of us because he is a nerd, first of all.
Yep.
And he has, throughout the season, I just rewatched Down Thunder like a month and a half ago. And he just has like so many problems that we have. Like, he wants to game, he wants to, you know, be a prankster and uses intelligence to cause little technology problems around the campus of the school to go to. And he just grows so much from like this geeky kid who's like a computer nerd to freaking superhero and actually knowing how to fight and being dedicated to a team and a group of people and making friends. He is just phenomenally amazing as a character.
Well, what I really like about him is that even though he is a nerd, well, they try to make him out to be a bit more nerdy. They don't go all the way with him being a stereotype. And the big one is that there's the episode where it's called, fiddling enough, Bully for Ethan, where the guy, he's actually the guy who plays Tyzon in Operation Overdrive, in a much better role, by the way. He's this guy named Derek who's bullying Ethan. You know, he's picking on him, calling him a lot of names. There's one time where Derek like intentionally kicks his soccer ball and like knocks something really expensive out of Ethan's hand, and rather than just walk away, or just kind of cower away, he's actually getting in Derek's face and be like, "Dude, like, screw you. Why'd you do that, man?" Like, so I like how he stands up for himself, because I think he's like a brainy guy done right, where, yeah, you're a little nerdy and you're not the biggest guy, but that doesn't mean that you have to just, be a pushover and just let that happen. And I like that they do that with Ethan.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
I would I might even put him as, okay, maybe not an S tier, but he's definitely an A tier blue at the very least.
Most definitely. Oh, did you want to
Definitely
say
100% agreed.
Riz?
Honestly, I forgot.
You did?
Yeah, Nathan said something I forgot.
And I also like I know it's subtle, but I also really like how they portray him having girl issues because you have the whole he wants to find a date for Kira's this was a story arc that unfortunately did not get as much attention as it should have, but like he needs a date for Kira's little music video and um and he gets on a dating website and he hooks up with Cassidy. Um, and then we get the next episode after that where Ethan and Cassidy are hanging out, and then we get the actual episode where they go out on a date, which was pretty great. So it's cool how we see him have girl issues. I really wish that we got more with. I really wish that we got more focus with him on that, but he does end up with another girl.
Yeah. She's
Whose
cute
name
too.
is And her name is Angela too. What is it with these people having girlfriends named Angela? Because Zach has a romantic interest named Angela in season 1. Joel marries Miss Fairweather, whose first name is Angela, and now Ethan ends
Really?
up with another girl named Angela. What's it with this recurring name?
I don't know. That's I didn't know her first name was Angela.
Yeah, I'm not making that up. It says so on Ranger Wiki too.
Yeah, he meets her at a convention at a line of the convention he's trying to go to.
Yeah, but that's good for her that they ended up together.
Yeah.
And apparently he creates computer software that SPD uses in 2025, so good for him.
Hmm.
He's also got a cool genetic power, but that's not really much for character stuff. But I loved his dino power.
Are
Should
we?
we move on? Yeah, we can move on.
Oh wait, did Riz? You manage to remember what you were gonna say?
Nope.
Oh
It is
dang.
gone.
Well, you can still say nice things about Ethan if you want to. That
Oh no, I did. I gave my whole rant on how much I love Ethan earlier.
Okay, that's good, man. Just wanted to be sure. I
Yeah.
didn't want to leave you hanging or whatever.
No, you good. I'm ready to talk about the first black leader of the Power Rangers with dreads.
Oh yeah. Alrighty, we're talking about Jack Lander's SPD Red Ranger. With Jack, he was actually a very interesting character. He started off as a Robin Hood-esque character with Z, his longtime best friend. They ran around stole goodies from the rich or whatever and gave it to the homeless people. And they did this for several years until they got caught by B Squad, which was Bridge, Sid, and Sky. And it was actually, I honestly, Jack was really, really well developed in this show.
I think Jack is kind of a victim of the subpar writing style of Bruce Kalish, which I still need to make that video about Bruce Kalish. Because early episodes when Bruce Kalish was being a bit more original, he was great. But the problem is, and this is the case for most of the SPD Rangers, um, after the episode where we get the big debut of the Battleizer, which is a great episode. Um, at that point, Bruce Kalish was just copying the Sentai episodes, which wouldn't be such a big deal, except for the fact that Gekiranger is a very episodic Sentai with no real ongoing story.
Yeah,
And
like a cop procedure show, basically.
yeah. And I think that really hurt it. So pretty much everything that Jack does from that point forward is just stuff that his Sentai counterpart does. Now, I do think that he's better than his Sentai counterpart. I'm not a fan of Deca Red, to be honest. I don't think he's not a terrible character. To kind of answer a question like Riz, I don't think he's as bad as John from Gekiranger, but he's still not
It's
an
hard to be
amazing.
bad as John.
Yeah. I think he was great. Honestly, when I was a kid, I didn't like the episode where he takes advantage of his position as the Red Ranger. But as an adult now, I'm just kind of thinking, you know what? There are probably some people who the minute that they realize that they're the leader, they would probably do this exact thing. So come on, don't you think there are some people who are kind of immature adults who would be like, hey, I'm the leader. I can make these rangers shine my shoes. I can make them do my laundry while I read a comic book. Like, come on, there are probably some people who would do that.
Exactly. I would.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't?
And his little thing with Sky was a great rivalry when they actually did stuff with it. Which again, their rivalry kind of ended after the Battleizer 2-parter, but when it was good, it was really damn good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the dynamic duo that you really wanted in this season was Scott and Sky. I mean, Zack and Sky.
Did you want to add anything about Jack Riz?
He is probably so. I know he's the leader and he's supposed to be like this, but he was just a really, really good character. And I'm currently going through SPD right now on the side, and I gotta say, I greatly enjoy having a character like Jack who is very laid down and laid back and just like totally, you know, not all about the rules or anything, and then at the same time he still manages to be a really good leader for the team.
And I think he makes a lot of sense out of some of the things. Like I remember the episode where he has Sid join him for a stakeout on their birthday. That's on Sid's birthday. I'm sorry. And I'm pretty sure in the original, so it's pretty much a carbon copy of the Gekiranger episode. Except the Gekiranger episode is actually a 2-parter. I can't remember why Bond selects Umiko. I think it's just because Bond is just kind of an idiot and just didn't know what he was doing. But I think it works out a bit better with Jack because he's lived on the streets and doesn't know when his birthday is. So he probably just thought that someone's birthday is meaningless, and that's why he selected Sid. I think that's a much better story element than it is in Gekiranger. And not only that, but I would say that his genetic power, the ability to walk through walls, is very. I love the genetic powers in SPD. I don't think that they're like. It's the only season where I think the genetic powers are actually great because they're actually original. Because with the other ones, it's like super strength, supervision, blah 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 blah. But with these Rangers, it's very reflective of their personalities, and I think and it's perfect with Jack because when he was he's a guy who doesn't see any limits to where he'll go to do the right thing. And by having the ability to walk through walls, there's literally no limits to where he can go because even if there's a wall up to stop him from going somewhere, well, he can just walk right through it. So that wall isn't going to do anything to stop him. And the same way that nothing is going to stop him from doing the right thing, even if he has to break a couple of rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You agree with
Yeah,
that, Riz?
definitely. Yeah.
Did you want to say anything about Jack, Anthony?
I just gotta say I love the introduction when he first becomes the Red Ranger. The fact that he was able to hold, like, not only hold off against the Crybots by himself, he was also able to completely destroy that blue head, easily because the other Rangers were struggling to fight that thing by with all four of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I gotta say about him.
Should we move on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
Okay.
Okay, we're not.
Scott, right?
No. We're not talking about Will from Operation Overdrive.
No, we're not. We're going to Scott.
Okay,
Yeah.
all we're gonna talk about with this is brief. This is gonna be very very brief with Will.
He
He'll
sucks.
be
End of
both
story.
in person and in real life, in the show and in real life. There.
Yeah.
All right. So Scott.
I'm actually. I actually want to start off this real quick, if you don't mind.
No, not at all.
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe I'm looking too deep into this, but I get vibes with Scott. Like, okay, Scott's story is very similar to some other Red Rangers that have issues with their dad, but I think it's a lot better with Scott because I maybe it's just me, but I get low. Scott reminds me a lot of one of my favorite characters from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Faramir. So, and let me kind of describe it to you. So, just like Faramir, Scott grew up with a dad who looked who and he also had an older brother like who was always the bigger overachiever compared to him, and he was the guy that his dad was really proud of in the same way that Denethor was really proud and loving of Boromir. And now, to be fair, Truman is not a complete jerk like Denethor. Like Denethor is one of the worst Denethor is like one of the worst human beings in fiction. Like I hate Denethor, but so I'm not comparing Colonel Truman to Denethor, but it's like, and then much like Faramir, Scott wanted to live up to his father. Like he wanted to make his father proud, and it got even more awkward when he, much like Faramir, saw Boromir die, and he had to constantly live with his dad having resentment over that. It's the same thing with Scott. His brother Marcus got killed, and his dad was clearly disappointed, and they didn't really talk. We literally see that in the first episode where he reports to his dad that Marcus got killed, and Truman just walks away without even saying anything. And it's really powerful stuff. And what I really love is that we get like 2 episodes that revolve specifically around that. It it ends on the most perfect note where Colonel Truman gives Jim a medal but doesn't give Scott a medal, and then Scott gets like so pissed off that he like goes out into the wasteland, and then he and Jim find. Now this is where the Faramir stuff kind of trails off, because the Faramir drama ends with like Denethor dying, and because Denethor is a horrible human being and he absolutely deserved that. But while Colonel Truman is not a jerk so much as just kind of a little arrogant. But like I love how they end Scott's arc where he goes out, and then he and Jim find these refugees and they save them, and then Colonel Truman wants to give him the medal, but then Scott is like, well, no, I didn't earn this. I was really reckless when in this action. And because the thing about Scott is that he's getting the medal just the fact that his father would want to give him the medal, that's good enough for him. And I think that's just really deep stuff. Like this is character writing at its best, in all honesty. Like Scott might actually be one of my top 10 favorite Reds the more that I think about it.
And like he's not like this is not my words. This is other people who said this. People have said that they are not really that much of a fan of Scott because of he wasn't really like you know I guess maybe his personality wasn't all that great. I guess
He wasn't very likable as a character in the beginning. He kind of came off as like a standoffish asshole, but honestly, if you look at his family background, like the Nate given detail, you can kind of figure out why he was like that, and it makes a lot of sense to me, honestly.
Exactly.
But
And
do you
like,
agree with like the Faramir parallels?
I agree with it because
I
I've
can
watched
see it.
the Rings, so I get it.
It doesn't perfectly align, but it does align to some degrees, in my opinion. And Faramir is one of my favorite Lord of the Rings characters, so I kind of can't help but draw that comparison.
Understandable.
Were you going to say something, Riz?
I was gonna say that of the characters on our list so far, and even after, I think Scott has the most growth and development of any other character on the list we're talking about today.
And to kind of draw some other comparisons, everybody likes to say that Dylan from RPM is like very much like Wolverine, like in terms of his backstory from X-Men. Now, I'm not. I always thought that, like, it's funny how Dylan is like seen as a pet. Like, he's very much like Wolverine in terms of his backstory. And I kind of like how he has this like bitter rivalry with Scott in the same way that Wolverine has a bitter rivalry with Cyclops. And it's funny because Cyclops' real name is Scott, just like Scott. So that's really ironic.
Irony. But I never like hated Scott. It was just like we were focusing more on Dylan and his story. But I would say I did like the stuff with Scott and his dad. That was like the highlight of the show. With aside from stuff with Dylan.
Yeah. And I do think that Wolverine was probably on Eddie Gazellion's mind when he wrote Dylan. I mean, X-Men Origins Wolverine literally came out the same year that
I mean,
RPM
yeah, I
came
think
out.
so.
So,
It's not a coincidence. It's definitely intentional.
and he probably had like Wolverine's rivalry with Cyclops a little bit in mind because Scott and Dylan have a really great rivalry.
Indeed.
Yeah, they do, definitely.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, Scott just has a lot going on for him that you don't see very often with the other Reds. Like, before like a month ago, Nathan, I would have said that Scott's in the mid tier to low tier. Like, I didn't really care about him. But then a couple of videos online, I watched him and they broke down a story and I was like, dang, this is actually really deep and a really good story. I need to pay more attention to Scott, and I think he's definitely A tier, if not higher.
And he has some big moments too. Like he is the one who kills General Shifter. And if you want to be technical about it, he's the guy who came up with the idea that we should defeat Venjix with another computer virus. I'm pretty sure that was his idea. So it was his idea that ultimately saved the world, well, the RPM world, but still.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, we don't really like the Samurai Rangers all that much, so it was kind of nice to see like take
Right.
all these jabs at them in Clash of the Red Rangers.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's like after this is now where it goes all downhill from here.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
at least for like
not
2
entirely,
seasons.
not entirely, but mostly.
Kevin sucks in the story.
Kevin does suck, yes. Like, no, he's very boring. He's very like not charismatic. His acting in the show is just kind of just
Okay. Okay, there is Power Rangers bad acting, and then there's whatever the hell Najee is doing in that show.
we're samurai. We gotta fight. Yeah.
Like that's just horrible.
I just don't get it. Like,
So yeah, we don't have to talk about Kevin.
Yeah, there's nothing to talk about there.
yeah.
Honestly, not a lot about Noah. I will say that he's very reminiscent of Billy in some ways when it comes to the schooling and like the information gathering and all that.
Yeah. I figured that was there when they did Megaforce, at least the first half.
I just hope that you
Yeah.
guys will like Noah more when I do my little redone my version of Megaforce because I really want to make him likable.
Pretty sure that anything else anybody else comes up with is miles better than what we got in the show.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
he's a great actor. John Mark Loudermilk, I think his name is.
I'm pretty sure he's like a decent. It was just the fact that he wasn't given a good role.
Yeah.
It's just not his fault. So
Same with Ciara Hanna and Gia. I mean, I know Riz likes Gia, and she's a great character, but she was horribly underused. And it's the same thing with Noah.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Noah. Noah had the chance to be a really good character, but he fell short because of super poor writing on the Megaforce team part.
yeah, and they try to turn him too much into like Joe in the second half of Super Mega Force, but it's like it doesn't work with.
I mean, I like his friendship with Jake a little bit. I think he and Azim, I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name, but I think Noah and Jake's actors have really good chemistry. I like their friendship. Like, I don't know. This is like I don't know. The Megaforce cast will always go down as like the most underused cast ever.
Yeah,
I don't think we need to talk anymore about Noah, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I think we're good. We can go on to. I think the next most significant character we talk about is going to be Selby.
Oh yeah,
She's literally the next black African American character,
and she's our
Yeah,
first, and so far now our only Black Pink Ranger.
and she's
and
amazing.
with her, we're able to complete 2 teams that we've been looking for.
Indeed.
I love Shelby. I think we talked about how great she was. We already went into some pretty big depth with how great of a character she is when we did our big Dino Fury versus Dino Charge thing.
Yeah.
But I liked her. I mean, I thought she was kind of, I thought she could be a bit of a tomboy, but she was also really awkward. Like when she brought the wrong food to those people in the very first episode. And I like how she's very independent. Like her dad is trying to. He was played by the same guy who plays Colonel Truman, by the way. Um, her dad is trying to get her to take on some take over the family ice cream business, but she wants to study dinosaurs. Like, yeah, you go, Shelby. Go and do that.
Definitely. Like she has so much personality too. Is like she
Oh
was very
yeah.
sassy. She stood up for herself a lot too. I like that.
And her romance with Tyler was actually really great.
Yeah, they had good chemistry.
Yeah, do you guys know if I know Camille Hyde like she's been doing a lot of things and she's been kind of transitioning away from Power Rangers, but I did hear that she did her voice for Shelby because you guys might remember in that big dinosaur crossover, Riley and Shelby only appear morphed in that episode, but I did hear that like Camille Hyde voiced Shelby, she just couldn't be on set.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably filmed at the height of COVID, honestly.
Yeah,
yep.
you're right.
And I also know that she is a lead character in I believe it's called All American Homecoming. It's like a football TV show.
I've only seen her in the Netflix original called American Vandal.
What's that about?
We'll talk about it offline,
Okay.
but it was pretty entertaining. I thought she did pretty well in that story.
Yeah, but I think Shelby is great. Like, for the first pink African American Ranger, she was awesome.
Yeah.
I know that I don't know if this is after Dino Church or not. I can't keep up with it, but I think we should give a personal shout out to. Now I know this is from a separate continuity, but I really want to give a shout out to Billy from the 2017 movie.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that movie has flaws. I'm sorry to take over here from you, Anthony.
All right.
But like Billy from that movie really hit me personally because it's not just a matter of him being a person of color, but they make clear in that movie that he's on the autistic spectrum. Now I'm a bit more mildly on the spectrum, but I actually really liked Billy there too because unfortunately we're not getting episode Ranger characters like that. Now there are some characters that I suspect are on the spectrum. Like I do think Billy in the original series was kind of on the autistic spectrum. I'm not gonna lie, but I I want to give a personal shout out to Billy from the 2017 movie because he he not only gives people of color representation, but I also feel like he gave people on the spectrum like me representation, and I think they did a really great. Like I really loved Billy in that movie, and that movie has problems. Don't get me wrong; it's not an amazing flick, but Billy is what makes me actually want to watch that movie a couple of times because I really love Billy in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know that he wasn't on the list of like the significant ones. I just really wanted to give a shout out to that guy.
Oh no, no.
No, I
I,
definitely wanted to give him a shout out as well. I think I forgot about the movie for a little bit there.
I did too. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Because he's like double representation. He represents the African American community, and I feel like people like me who are on the spectrum can get some representation from him too, and I really appreciate that.
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he stole the entire movie, honestly.
And we can kind of substitute him in there because there's no one to cover in Ninja Steel, thankfully.
Actually, no. Haley technically is our first white Black Ranger, even though it sounds kind of weird saying that out
Yes,
loud.
it's weird. I don't know. It's been debated on what race her actress is. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not certain, but
She's cute though.
if
I'm not gonna
if
lie.
we're
I mean, I haven't
if
watched
we're,
Ninja Steel, but I could get through it just looking at her.
And Sarah.
if we're talking about if we're going to talk about Haley, the only real thing that you can say about her is she has a puppy dog
It's adorable.
and she's dating Calvin,
Calvin.
Calvin.
and they have a really good episode about their relationship and how to deal with a rocky boat sometimes.
Yeah, and I get good vibes from her. Like I like her relationship with Calvin, and I don't know. I think one scene that I could watch just like with her reaction is like when Calvin's fixing his car, and like she's like, "Baby, I'm your girlfriend, and the car's just a car, right?" And then Calvin's all like, "Hey, you're gonna hurt my baby's feelings," and she just laughs like, "You're so stupid." Like I like that scene, honestly. Her actress is great. Her actress, I feel like, should be in a different Power Rangers season.
Yeah.
A good season, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zoe Robbins, I'm pretty sure that's her name. She should be in a different season. And I don't, that's the only scene with Haley that I can really remember because I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to watch Ninja Steel, guys. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't think people could pay me to watch that.
It's not good.
You cannot watch it. I'm sorry. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't think somebody could pay me to watch that.
But I will say this: they do have two very attractive female ranger teams, so I'll give them that. They did cast some really
Oh,
cute.
100%.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the next big one?
Let's
Yeah,
go.
I'm down.
So it's gonna be Devin from Beast Morphers. I was gonna say Beast Wars. No, it's Devin from Beast Morphers. He is the Red Ranger, and he actually is the fourth Red Black Ranger we had.
Mm-hmm. I actually did just finish watching the first season of Beast Morphers not too long ago. I still need to watch the second season. I don't know. Devin to me just feels like a been there, done that character. Like he's got a. I mean, I like his relationship with his dad, but haven't we seen this already and done like kind of better and more prominently with other characters?
Well, the problem with this is Devin is part of a season that's a sequel to Time Force. Well, not
You
Time
mean
Force,
RPM?
RPM. Yeah. And while he's a sequel character technically, you can kind of see the influence of Saban and Hasbro's collective attempt to harken back to RPM's magic because him and uh Scott have a lot of similarities in their character, like development, like their father and some of their cockiness in a way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The big save is that he doesn't work for a restaurant and he's not like an asshole like that guy is.
Yeah. I mean, I want to like Devin. I because there's nothing technically bad about him, and I don't know. Like, I need to watch the second season of Beast Morphers. I don't know. In general, it's really hard for me to get behind some of these characters, though, because like I don't like how some episodes just have like really dumb, like subplots that feel like they belong in a filler episode, and
Yeah.
stuff like that really distracts me on getting a better idea of like how I feel about some of these characters. I mean, there's one episode for God's sake, there's one episode where Ravi is having trouble fighting because he's got a toothache. Like, I don't know. I mean, stuff like that really distracts me from these characters.
It's
I'm
like really
sorry.
and then it was and that I think it was Great Connect. I think it was called Great Connection, the team up with the with Jason and the other Rangers and stuff. It was just really weird that he decided that, oh, we're kind of in danger and he's just gonna go off and play a video game tournament, and then the meteor thing, it was just really weird. Like you have to watch it for yourself, Nate, because it was just
Yeah.
really odd that they did that. And I don't like the fact that he's just only a bare minimum character who loves to play video games. Like, he needs to make his character more than just, oh, I like video games, or it's like a video game. Like, it's more to it than just him liking video games. They should make it, like, I don't know, just he's trying to be like Ethan, but he doesn't have like the same, I guess, love for it as Ethan would be. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Maybe I'll have a more healthy opinion of him after I watch the second season. But so far, I mean, he's just a C tier red in my opinion.
yeah. But I also feel like the stuff with him and his dad could have been explored a lot more. They kind of just like, develop a little bit, but they didn't continue it long enough.
Yeah.
You guys, did you want to say anything, Riz?
Um Devin, he's very mid in my opinion as a character. Like he doesn't have a lot of, you know, things that kind of differentiate him. The big thing is his dad and him's relationship, I think, honestly. Like, everything else is kind of superfluous, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the last ones on the list then, guys?
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
And on this one, we have 2 black male Rangers for the first time in the franchise, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both Ravkonians.
Yeah.
I've introduced them, Anthony.
So this is Dino Fury. It's the Zato is the red Dino Fury Red Ranger, and Ion is the gold Dino Fury Ranger.
I think we've talked about
We have our fifth,
in
we have
depth.
our fifth, black Red Ranger. So there's that, and our first
Black Sixth Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
I think Zeta was cool. I mean, I've said a bunch of mean stuff about Ion, which I don't feel good saying because I've met his actor and his actor is awesome. But
I have nothing against the actor, but I just do not like his character. I'm sorry. Like,
hopefully he'll get better with Cosmic Fury. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that.
yeah. And so technically, we could also say that Zato is the first. I don't even know what color he is, technically speaking, because it looks beige, but I don't know.
He's a Zenith Ranger.
So I guess we could label him as like a. I guess we could label him as like a extra ranger, like in Commander Cruiser or Korag's case.
Could I be an extra ranger too?
It depends how you play it. Because he is. Let's see. How do you put this? He's the mentor for the team in a lot of ways because he's the veteran ranger, in the same way Andrus was.
Yeah, you're right.
I could easily see him becoming a Kruger type character, but we just don't know enough about it so far to make that distinction 100% right now.
Right.
Are you going to answer Frankie's question, Riz?
No.
Okay, wow, fine.
Frankie can answer his own question.
I just want to know if I was an extra ranger, and nobody answered me. I feel ignored.
Okay, Frankie, you are now the Zenith Ranger. Congratulations.
Is that an extra ranger, or is that just like a weird?
It's gonna be Cosmic Fury.
I mean, I know what it is.
We don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I had this feeling like a half an hour ago during the podcast that at some point Frankie would appear tonight.
Really?
I had this sneaking suspicion.
I almost
Frankie
did
would
yesterday,
appear.
but I decided against it.
No, I didn't have that suspicion yesterday. I had it today though for some reason. I was like, it's been too long. Frankie's been quiet for way too long.
He's gonna just jump in and interrupt.
No, he's gonna jump in and say, "Hi guys, I'm lonely."
I mean, close enough. I was lonely.
So, Frankie, now that we have you here,
Hello.
who is your favorite Black Power Ranger from the franchise? Black being like one of the African American descent characters.
Oh, it's not the color like an African American character.
Yeah.
That's a very good question, actually. I'm a big fan of TJ. I like TJ a lot.
Yeah, TJ's the GOAT.
Yes.
He's a favorite among us all.
I like Jack.
That's awesome. Yes.
I have a soft spot for Aisha and Tanya because they were the first two Black female Rangers.
Did you know, Frankie, that Aisa is considered the first female black superhero in live action TV?
Is she really?
Yeah.
I actually did not know that.
I learned that the other day, and I'm trying to spread the knowledge to everyone who I can.
I want to say Zach for nostalgia purposes, but Zach really isn't much of a character at the end of the day.
I mean, that's fair, but also Zach is just amazing, and so
But
yeah.
no, I'm gonna. You know, at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with TJ. I'm gonna go with TJ.
Yeah.
Go to goat. Can't go wrong.
But what do we want to say about Zato?
Zato is okay. So I know a lot of people don't like him, but honestly, he went through a lot of stuff. He went through being awoken after what, like 64 million years?
Isn't he the oldest Ranger in the
He
history of
is
the
technically
franchise?
the oldest Ranger in the franchise.
Canonically, yes.
Yes.
He lost his people. He spends most of the time trying to find his people. He finds his home planet only for Lord Zed to blow it up.
Yep.
And then he finds his people, and he has to make the ultimate sacrifice and give up his life to protect everyone. Only to come back at the end of Dino Fury to go chasing Lord Zed.
The guy
Because
who
retcon, because they're retcon masters.
Was that scene added in last second,
No,
or was that always supposed to happen?
that was planned to be the end scene, but they had no guarantee or truly any plan for a season 3.
So they were gonna have a cliffhanger ending, and
Yes.
that's terrible.
Aren't you glad we got a 3rd season?
Yeah, I'm a little confused about the rankings of the Rangers now, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, me too. It was like,
Well, yeah.
See, because when I saw them, I thought it was gonna be like a Tommy White Ranger thing where he was just the leader despite not being white, but I don't know how true that is.
No, Amelia is the new leader.
She gonna be leader.
Which brings up an interesting topic. Are we done talking about Zeta and Ion? Do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't.
I don't like Ion.
Okay.
Most of
So,
yeah.
So part of the dialogue that's been going around Toku Twitter on and off for about a couple of weeks now is the dissatisfaction with we have 2 prominent Red Rangers who are black. The first being TJ, and the other being Zaito. And in
What about
both
Jack?
cases, what?
What about Jack?
I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
These 2 characters are the Red, but then in a later season, they're demoted or relegated to a different lead, like a different color, and in preference to somebody who's white.
Oh,
And
I see where you're going with this.
yeah, a lot of people have been upset about it. I, as a on a personal level, I don't mind it for the story purpose because in the case of TJ and Andros, it made sense that Andros was the leader because he understands space, and this is literally Power Rangers in. Frankie, help me out here.
It was his ship. It was all his stuff from his planet.
Yeah.
But with the Dino Fury thing, or Cosmic Fury, I didn't watch most of Dino Fury. I'm pleading ignorance here. Was she like built up as the new leader in Dino Fury, or is it just kind of happening?
It's in a transitionary phase right now. So when Dino Fury ended, she had much more character development and character growth than anyone else, and she had a lot of critical events happen to her. For example, it's found out that she's an alien like Zaito, she's from Rafcon like him, and her parents are respectively Void King and Void Queen,
Oh.
who are the big bads of the season that are not named Lord Zed.
Who was originally Void? Remember, Void King was originally Void Knight.
Yeah, but Void King's important.
As Riz mutes himself.
I say that because, like, I'm guessing, like,
Oh,
Frankie
it muted me. What the hell?
like Frankie knew about Void Knight more because of the armor that he wore, but
I know Void Knight because of Ryu Soldier, but
yeah,
Yeah, but that's the basic idea: is that Amelia's built up over time. She hasn't really done much leadership in itself. Like for the team, she's kind of more just there to fill the trope of the Pink Ranger.
it might be one of those cases where it's like, what's another good example of this? Like in Dino Thunder, where Tommy was like the mentor and Connor was the leader.
Yeah,
Might be that type of thing where Zato's just kind of there.
because so the thing you gotta remember, Zato technically died, and he stayed dead for about 6 or 7 months before the Morphing Masters brought him back to life. So I don't know if his death excludes him from being a leader. Personally, I don't mind in either case because as long as they do a good story, which I have a lot of faith that they will, I'm not going to complain.
And it's gonna be a shorter season too, right? It's only gonna be like 10 episodes.
10. Yeah. And the thing is, like, I know I'm saying I don't mind. It's not a big deal to me personally, but I do want to say that I'm not the demographic that's upset about it. So I don't have the full right to be dismissive of what others are feeling. And while I don't understand it, I do want to call out to our listeners in the podcast, hey, just because you don't understand why people might be upset doesn't mean you can't listen and try to understand and try to open a dialogue to support your fellow people who might not be the happiest with this. And to go back to what Frankie said earlier about Zach, Zach may not have been replaced as the red on screen until the very last second of SPD, but even then, Sky, according to the same people who are having the discourse, Sky is much more relevant to the season than Zach because he has more story and more development
He
and growth than
actually
Zach
does.
does. And people didn't like that either.
It's just weird that the Red Ranger got sidelined by the Blue Ranger. That doesn't really happen.
Well, Jen.
Well, Jen didn't really sideline Wes, though.
I mean, she was the leader for all intents and purposes, and
But if we talk about storyline, Wes was still basically the main character.
yeah. Delphine and Orico.
Well, the Alien Rangers are barely characters. I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
Well, Frankie, you're always wrong, but in this case, you might not be.
Well, going back to the SPD thing too, when you really think about it, Jack technically isn't the leader. Doggy is.
Donkey's the leader in the same way Tommy's the leader of Dino Thunder.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he still has to report to Doggy.
Yeah. So, Frankie, what's your color designation? What is your power?
I don't know.
Well, I'm Gokai Red. Nathan's Boken Silver. Anthony's Kira Green. What are you?
Deca Master.
Cool.
All right then.
that works.
That was easy.
Can you guess Patrick?
Shinken Red.
Yep.
Ding, 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 ding.
We have a winner.
That's my favorite suit design, so I'll just go with Deckamaster.
Yeah.
Do we want to put together that dream team, but the all black
Yeah.
team? Right?
Yeah, that's where I was going to end it, was over there.
Yeah. Okay.
So, moving on to the last segment of this podcast, we discussed earlier creating an all-star Ranger team of all of our favorite Black Power Ranger suit wearers. How do you say this the right way? Like,
African
words
American
are
Power
hard.
Rangers.
There we go. Thank you. And so, I'm going to start from the. I'm not going to start with red because that's boring. I'm going to start with the easy ones. Obviously, we have to have Selby as the Pink Ranger.
I mean, who else? Who else?
There is nobody else.
I think she's the only one.
Now, we have a couple of choices for yellow. Aisa, Tanya, Katie, Haley, and that's it.
Who's Haley?
Ninja Steel.
Oh, no wonder. I never watched Ninja Steel.
You're not missing anything?
Neither have I. I haven't watched it.
I would pick Katie for that one, personally.
I go with Aisa here.
I'd say Tanya.
We got. All right, Anthony. It's all you, buddy.
Okay. Should I start this list off though? Like, Well, obviously, I'm putting the TJ as
No, we're talking only yellow right now.
Oh, yeah, only yellow. Okay.
So we have a conflict here. Everyone's picked one different person so far. If he picks Haley, oh my god.
I'll go with Tanya.
All right, Tanya
Okay.
wins.
Tanya wins.
But let's have Tanya with her Zeo powers. Just because there might be a conflict with Turbo, so we have to have Tanya with her Zeo powers.
Yeah. Now the rules of this, just to remind people, you can only have one person from each season, so you can't have two from the Mighty Morphin era or two from like Turbo in Space or whatever, for example.
Right. Right.
So
Tanya with her Zeo
careful.
powers is safe.
Yeah. Now, the black/green, we have options here. We have Zach, Joel, Damon.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name from from Overdrive?
Will.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count. I feel like Zach's the only one you can pick here.
I like Joel, but Zach is also great for nostalgia's sake.
He's the original, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give my vote to Zach.
I give it Zach as well. Now, moving on to blue, we have, let's see, TJ, Ethan, Noah,
and Kevin.
Is that it?
I'm gonna pick Ethan just because I want TJ at red.
I mean, you could have Billy from the movie too, if you wanted to be technical.
Yeah,
that's true. You're right. I keep forgetting the movie existed.
But no, I gotta agree with Nathan on this one with Ethan.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm not picking TJ is because I want him in at red. So,
well, there we go.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Ethan for mine. Now, for the last one, it's the red. And we
have Sixth Ranger, but we can only put Ion in at that.
Yeah, that's not important.
Is he really the only black Sixth Ranger?
Yes.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
It took 30 years, Frankie.
That's insane! Wow. Okay.
And like I tried a couple of weeks ago talking to these guys offline to make the case that I think Doggy Kruger, but they both set me down and said no. He's from like
He's a dog.
no, but the actor.
I think he's
He was-
white.
You mean? Well, I mean, he was Daggeron in
Yeah.
in Mystic Force.
Nathan told me the country he's from, and it's some Pacific country that, like an island or something.
I see. Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Shit.
So I lost that argument.
Yeah.
So Ion's the only one for sixth.
Well, he
Leaving
technically
us
wouldn't.
for red.
He technically isn't a sixth
Right.
ranger anyway. So
Yeah. Now for the red, you got TJ, Zach, Scott, and Zato.
Mm-hmm.
no, there's what's his name from Beast Morphers.
Oh yeah, Devin.
But
Well, I got 5 of them. Dang.
It's gotta be TJ, bro.
So I will accept the answer of TJ or Zach here. I will be flexible.
Actually, no, I like Devin. Devin wasn't bad.
It's TJ for me. TJ's the GOAT.
But yeah, no, I gotta go with TJ as well.
Yeah.
Same here.
Now, one thing I would say that I would consider as well. Name Ethan the mentor tech guy, because in Dino Thunder's epilogue, you do find out at SPD that he is very technologically savvy, right? Like, so I could make the argument that Ethan is our tech guy and not a ranger, which opens the door for a TJ as blue and Zach as red if we want to go that configuration, but I know we're not going to, but I still want to offer it out there for those that might be interested.
I could see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Because to me, TJ was the best at blue.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
But I also
So,
think In Space is just a way
TJ
better season than Turbo. So
Hmm?
I also think In Space is just a way better season than Turbo. So
And I mean, when every time TJ's come back, except for Wild Force, he's come back as blue.
yeah, you're right. In Mega Force and Ninja Steel, he was the Blue Ranger.
Yeah, so I think he's more iconically known for blue than he is red
That's
in
kind
terms of
sad,
like
to be honest.
canonical stuff. The only reason we consider him more for red is because he's the first Black Ranger to Power Rangers.
He's the first Black leader of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
He was in 3 of the 5 anniversary specials.
Mm-hmm. I wish that he would make a cameo in
He's
Once Always.
yeah, that's a Mighty Morphin thing. So that's just
I know. But like having the background, like, hey, what's up, guys?
Hey guys, I'm here. I fought with you before.
I kind of know you guys, except not really.
No, he worked with Jason and Tommy, and neither of them are in this. So
Yeah.
Did we want to add anything else?
No.
no, not that I can think.
I'm good, man.
Do you want to say anything, Anthony, just to close us off? Seeing as you're still leading this podcast, I'm sorry if we've all kind of taken you over, buddy.
No. That's perfectly fine. Because honestly, I was like not really sure if I was able to do this podcast, sort of my charisma alone. So I really appreciate the help.
Oh, no problem. I'll jump in anytime if I'm out of nowhere.
It much appreciated, Frankie.
Yeah, no problem.
Decamaster.
That's right.
Dekamaster. Well, that concludes our discussion of Black characters in Power Rangers. Hope you guys have a nice night, and you guys check us out on Spotify and on YouTube, pretty much anywhere, any stream service or whatever.
And check us out on our social media pages too, guys.
And may the power protect you.